Hi, everybody. Ed Bixby here from the Global Green Burial Alliance, and this is Spotlight Now. Today, I'm here with Acorey Sims, who is the founder of Eco Casket Company, a US-based company focused on biodegradable caskets, urns, and sustainable burial alternatives. Inspired by the belief that end-of-life care can honor both loved ones and the earth, he works to create awareness around green burial practices and provide families with more natural, meaningful options. So, welcome, Acorey.
Hello, thank you so much, Mr. Bixby. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We're glad to have you here. So, why don't we get started by learning a little bit more about, your background and how Eco Casket Company came to be?
Yes, of course. So I'll say it was like a lot of seeds planted throughout my life. I'll say like started from the very beginning as a young child. I dealt with death. I'm sorry. I dealt with death in like a unique kind of way. Um, so I had like a rough childhood growing up. My mom, we were moving from like shelter to shelter in Las Vegas once we moved from Colorado. I was originally born in Colorado, and then my mom had to, move to Vegas on I guess you will say like a bad circumstance. And so we're moving from shelter to shelter, and then we finally found a home. And once we found a home, it was like an apartment complex out here in Las Vegas, and that's where I was able to meet my very first, best friend. And it was kind of crazy at the time because we were so young, but it was like a iron sharpens iron thing. Like we'll always like race each other, see who's the fastest. We'll always try to practice like who will make a free throw first, and then who will have the first 3-point shot because we were so young at the time. We were only like 5 or 6, so it's like a kind of crazy connection. And then also just like the night before he passed, it was just ironic like the energy because it's like we understood like that was gonna be the last night we'll be able to play with each other for some reason. And so we just stayed out so late, and then it was just crazy like how nature worked at the time because we stayed out so late and we had like a security guard in our apartment complex, so he was chasing us around. And the next thing we know, it started hailing, so we're able to chill under the playground area and just have like long conversations. And I'm reflecting on that. We're just so young and able to have so deep and wonderful conversations. And then sadly the next day, oh well, 2 days later actually, I'm getting woken up, and I'm just like I said, I'm only like 5 or 6. I'm getting waken up out of my sleep, and then my mom was pointing at the TV. She said, "Look, it's Cameron," and that was my best friend's name. And he passed away from being shot. And that was my first time. At the time, I didn't understand like, well, of course, I'm only 5, so I didn't understand what grief was, but I experienced it. Like knowing not to be able to see my friend ever again, like impacted me a lot. And then I remember one thing I remember that impacted me the most was asking to go to the funeral. I actually asked to go, and I was told it's not a place for kids. So I took that with me for like most of my life. And then so with that understanding, just moving forward, so I'll say, and I'm just still like dealing with that. So I'm like, as a kid, I'm trying to understand what death is like throughout my whole childhood because I'm still trying to understand like why can't I see my friend again, and why can't I speak to him? So I'm just dealing with grief in those ways throughout my childhood. And then I get a little bit older, and my great grandfather passed away. And that's like the second funeral I go to where I remember. And the structure of it was kind of like, it was just, to me, I didn't like it because how structured it was. I felt like it wasn't at the time. And I was around this time, I'm like 12, 13. And I just didn't like the structure or how formal it was. I felt like it should have been more personal even at that time. I even asked like my grandfather at the time, like, because I'm a saxophonist, so I asked my grandfather at the time, like, can I play saxophone or do something to make it more lively at the time? And he was just like, he told me, just calm down, grandson, everything will be okay. It's just how it goes. And at that time, I was like, it has to be like a better, more powerful remembrance because I wasn't able to do that with my friend Cameron. And so I was just, that just stuck with me. And then I graduate high school, just growing up a little later. And then I come back, go to college for my freshman year of college. I come back that summer. The very same day I come back, that's when my sister was murdered, my youngest sister. I'm the oldest boy out of 4 girls. So she was murdered. And she's my half sister. So her dad he's Muslim. He practices Islam, and so coincidentally, my sister was the first person born at a Muslim, I guess you can say, cemetery in Las Vegas, the very first Muslim cemetery in Vegas at a mosque. So that was my first time being able to see or even know or hear about a natural burial. And that funeral, I felt for me was the most impactful, most like it helped me deal with the grief in an amazing way just because how powerful the ceremony was and just understanding like being able to actually bury my sister myself and then just understanding the natural process of how to take care of the body and just like the rituals and ceremony parts of that aspect. And as a Christian, I was just astonished that like this opportunity is not available for us because I would have did that for per se, or I'm pretty sure if we known about it, they would have done that for my grandfather, my great grandfather, not my grandfather, and then my brother Cameron, and so and that's where. And at this time, like I said, I was in college for the first time, and that's where the natural burial idea came to mind. I wanted to either have like a green like funeral home in Vegas, and where we could have this opportunity for everyone besides the Muslims, and so that was my first thought process. So I went back to college still in that mindset. At the time, I was a computer science major, and then so that's just always been in the back of my mind, like I want to start a green funeral home. And then I did research, just doing my own little research about it, and learning how hard it is to start a funeral home in Las Vegas. I kind of like just said I might as well just stay focused on computer science. And so I went to school on the band scholarship. So the band program was actually dropped from the college I went to. So that's when I decided to become first. For the first year, I was a teacher after that. So I was like a substitute teacher in Dallas, and just because I wanted to work with kids for my sister. And that was very powerful, but it was just like a lot of bad things with like bosses and stuff. And that's when I finally joined the Air Force. And in the Air Force, I dealt with two deaths with people that was very close to me. And and those people, they had like similar situations where they didn't have contact with their mother as well. And a conversation I remember having with both of them, separately, of course, but both of them was just like how my mother, she always said if she wanted to be buried, she wanted to turn into a tree. And that's just always stuck with me. And I was just thinking about like my baby sister, how we buried her, and how she would have the opportunity before my mother. And I was just thinking like, um, just that just always stuck with me. And that was while I was in the military. And then I get out of the military. I do my 4 years. I'm back in school. And I'm going through this, I guess you could say, like a depression slash anxiety grief stage where I'm feeling like I'm not doing enough for this world. And so I'm working out one day, and I go in the sauna. And this day in the sauna, I just, kind of just let it all out. And then I kind of got like clarity, or like you can say like an aha moment, where I was just like, I kind of understood what my purpose could be. And that's how I came up with the idea with Eco Casket Co. I was trying to, I guess you could say, do something in the sense of like for my mother to, because I haven't spoken with my mother since my sister's funeral. So it was just like I guess it was like, something I could do for her and do for like, the world as well. Because she always said she wanted to do that, but she never knew how to do it, or, never had education on it. So I just want others, like, just other people like her, just everyone, to have the opportunity to know that this option is out there and have the opportunity to think about it and, think outside the box, because there's other ways you could, calm your anxiety dealing with death care and the dead. And so at first it started with me just wanting to do education on it, like having a platform for just education period purposes. So that's how I started my social media originally. I was just going to have an educational base, but then I realized the best way, best way I can make this platform better is to also offer the products to the customers as well, or to anyone, or let them know how to receive it. So that's when I came up with the idea of starting to partner with companies like Patches International, North American Orn Co., and Sita's Eternal Living. I partnered with them, and just so I'll be able to give consumers or customers the opportunity to also get the product as well, because that's a big thing too. A lot of people complain about like the knowledge about it, but how can I also receive it? And then also, I noticed the so Nevada in this case, we're losing cemetery space. So burial out here is very, very expensive. And I was also trying to figure out a way to let people know that there's other options other than, regular burial that is very expensive. And with that came up with more like barricades and stuff, but I'm still working on that to this day. But that's pretty much like the whole summary of how I came up with the
No,
platform.
no, and your experience as a child, you've went through a lot of things that were probably very difficult to deal with, not having the tools to truly understand. But you had obviously a vision or a passion for helping people, and you could see that the natural burial process or the eco-friendly process, or even the religious aspect of Muslim burial, let's say, or Jewish burial, is a very healing process when it comes to the way we treat our loved ones in death. And you know, I mean, I guess the consumer would like to know probably, what are can you walk us through the unique range of products, that you provide, and when it comes to product selection, design, sourcing, do you work with local artisans, or you had mentioned partnerships with partners, product suppliers? How would they how would they be able to take a look at what you do and what you provide?
Yes, of course. So right now we're on all social media platforms as Eco Casket Co. And right now we post informational content. Currently, we have collaborations with the Molding Mortician. She's based out of San Antonio, and with the Martin Mortician, Melissa Meadow. And I know she's based off out of Washington. And so we're right now we're trying to connect with like death doulas. I've had conversations with death doulas like Death Doula Casey, and just understanding to that these products are available. And the range we have, so we have eco-friendly urns as well. So we have urns made of sand and gelatin, which we have, thankfully, from Passages International. We have sand urns, biodegradable bamboo urns as well. We have salt urns, which is biodegradable in shallow land and water. We have our Journey Earth urns, which is the same as and that is made of reusable cardboard, repurposed cardboard. And then we also have coming soon. If everything goes right, we'll have mycelium urns as well, made out of mushroom root. And then the caskets, they range from a bunch of different materials from bamboo. We have bamboo caskets, we have willow caskets, we have seagrass caskets, and we also have caskets made out of banana leaves as well. We had mycelium caskets for pets, infants, and adults from CISA's Internal Living that with through that partnership. But we're out of stock as of now, just due to their farm going through like a bad situation. So he's not able to grow the caskets as of now, but we're talking to other companies that offer mycelium options as well. And that's where the urn comes in. And then, and I'm trying to work with not Nevada-based, but American-based companies as of now, because I also want to extend the opportunity, because I want to give this opportunity to veterans as well. I understand that green burial is becoming an option with the VA, but I want it to be a an impactful, or veterans to actually know about it. Because in Nevada, I'm in a bunch of veterans clubs. Like I'm also in college at UNLV, so I'm at the Vets Club up there, and I talked to them about green burial, and it's crazy about like how many people has never heard of it. So it just my goal is to really get the information out there with those partnerships, and just continue growing.
Yeah, I mean, and education and transparency is key. No matter what product you decide to use, it could even be something a family obviously could create themselves. We all know it.
Yes.
The key to this is biodegradable, uh, and the mycelium, and there's lots of different types of products that are available. But ultimately, it sounds like your vision, your organization not only focuses on providing these products to get them into the people's hands, but it's It's also to provide the opportunity of education so people can understand why it's important to want to use these. And I'm very familiar with the VA. I worked for many years. Me and a dear friend of mine, Rob Coughlin, he passed away just this year, 2014. We visited the VA in Washington, D.C., and it was a long time ago, but we started that conversation, and I'm proud to say, and I'm glad to hear you recognize that now it is an option, but it needs to be more. So with
Yes.
advocates like yourself, that's going to make that possible. And, with all that being said, now that you've been kind of immersed in this world a little bit, what would you say some of the main reasons the families you've spoken to are drawn to these types of eco-friendly products? And with that being said, uh, you know, uh, personalization is really important to families.
Yes.
Do you see the personalization opportunities arise, when the families do come and seek out the products?
Yes. And like a big trend that I see with families that I do come in contact with is that they do want something personal. A lot of times they are people that love nature, and they want to make sure that the person that has passed away, or if them pre-planning for themselves, that they wanted to embrace the nature that they loved as well. Um, Another thing that I've noticed, and then like you said with personalization, that's one thing I want to grow with as well. I want to also let people know with like these products that you can personalize them yourself, and that's why that's my big goal with products like these, because it makes the ceremony more personal, and that's my big goal with this. Of course, also with healing the earth as well with it, but it also makes it gives you an opportunity to make it personal. Like I said, it gives you an opportunity to play instruments if you want to at the funeral, or and even if you're burying an urn, it makes it more impactful and more powerful. And I feel like it's another way to remember, because you remember that memory more than going back to a headstone per se. And that's what a lot of people bring up when they talk to me as well. It's like, we understand that we're not going to make it back to the cemetery as much as people would think you will, and they understand that their families aren't going to make it there as much as their families say they will. So that's another big thing too, is but maybe if it's somewhere in nature, they'll be more inclined to it. And that's my goal, is just bringing that awareness. And with families I've come in contact with, they've appreciated that,
Sure,
and that's what they're
absolutely.
looking for as well.
Yeah, creating a comfortable space, creating a place that is memorable, celebrating a life that was lived, remembering all the good times, not making the death and dying process the defining moment of an entire life that was lived. And, going back to the earth as we've come. There's very few people, no matter where you've been born, where you've been raised, that don't appreciate nature. You can take someone from the city and you can take them into the middle of the forest, and they may initially feel uncomfortable, but at some point they're going to see, feel, and be part of their environment. So it's wonderful work that you're immersing yourself in. And is there, now you've talked about a lot of personal moments with your family, obviously, in this journey with the eco-friendly funeral world, was there anything especially impactful or memorable for you as far as helping a family with a funeral experience with one of your products?
Oh yes, quite a few. Even I'll start with one. It was like, I'll say it was my very first casket sale, and well, it was a sale that ended up being refunded, but it was a good thing. It was just the conversation that lasted with me so much, was because it felt like so personal and so understanding. And so my first casket sale, which was refunded, was with a person that wanted to pre-plan. He said he was going under a super hard surgery that most people don't make it out. And so we were talking like every day for like 5 days before the surgery, like before the surgery came to. And he just wanted to understand, and he wanted, to be comfortable with what he was choosing. And so I was making sure to, give every answer and every, all the information he needed. He just wanted to understand like the decomposing process. He wanted to understand how does it work. He wanted to understand the different options with each casket. He wanted to understand the heights and the width, and it was such like a great opportunity to have this as my very first customer because it made me understand everything I needed as myself. And this is my first customer. He's like asking all the right questions, and it was very cool. And then also just getting to know him because, like I said, we was talking for 5 days straight before the surgery came to. And then I'll say on the very fifth day, that's when he actually bought the casket. And we were just talking and then, just I was keeping him up in good spirits about his surgery because I was just letting him know. He's strong. I could just tell by our conversations how strong he is. His wife will chime in sometimes, so I could just understand like how good of a man he was. And it was just, just a great experience to have to just understand what I need to inform others, and so they'll be okay with this process as well. And then like I said, he ended up not needing the casket anymore, which was amazing. I was very thankful because he became my friend. So it was like a very grateful experience, and but I just love that experience as well because it taught me so much just about the job I'm doing and made me appreciate the work I'm doing as well.
Well, and it's one of the highest honors to be brought into a position like that when someone's dealing with death and dying or grief, or you're helping him through a process for him to come to grips with what might become a reality. So I can appreciate that, and I'm sure you were more than glad to issue that refund, knowing that he had more time on this earth. I tell people when they buy plots all the time, I hope I don't see you for a very, very long time.
Of
But we
course.
both know tomorrow is never promised, so it's best to be, educated and understand what you need. So Corey, as
Yes.
as as we wind down, I this is my favorite part of the conversation. Where would you hope to see Eco Caskets, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years?
In the next 5 to 10 years, I want to see it as a platform where it connects you with, um, everything you need with the education, with connections with cemeteries, green cemeteries, or cemeteries that have green burial plots, and also connect you with, green morticians and green death doulas, or death doulas that practice green burial practices, and morticians that practice green burial practices, and as well as green funeral homes. And I just wanted to be a place where everyone could go to, and it's a place where death care is a death care is very very anxiety. It brings up your anxiety, so I want Eagle Casket Co to help calm that and help with grief and understanding of what you're going through, and make it easy, I guess you will say, on the heart, pretty much, because it's an easy process to do a funeral, I will say, but it's just hard going through the process. So I wanted to make that part easier. And that's my goal.
Well, that's a wonderful vision, and there's no doubt in my mind you're already doing it. So I'm sure it'll only get better, and to be able to lighten the load for the family and ease their mind, that's what's most important when we do what we do. So Corey, it's been an absolute pleasure. We really appreciate you coming on today and meeting our viewers.
Yes, sir.
Uh, our viewers can learn more by visiting. Do you have a website you could share, Corey?
Yes. So you can find us at ecocasketco.com. And you can find us at Eco Casket Co on all social media platforms as well.
Great. Great. Well, that's it's wonderful to meet you, and I'm glad to hear about what you're doing. And keep us in the loop as you continue to grow.
Yes, sir. And thank you so much for this opportunity. I love it so much. And I love what you're doing with GGBA. And it's great work. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate that. So everyone, it's Ed Bixby here with the Global Green Burial Alliance, and this was Spotlight Now.